How does hemophilia manifest itself? How did the manipulator Rasputin treat hemophilia in Tsarevich Alexei? We will try to answer these and similar questions in today's episode of the series Secrets of Genes, in which I welcome you. My name is Edward Kechnowski, and I work as a geneticist at the Institute of Biophysics of the Czech Academy of Sciences. Some hereditary diseases can disappear from view for a while and then reappear. One example is hemophilia, a disorder of blood clotting. In female carriers, the disease does not manifest, so it disappears from our sight for a while. It only affects men again later. An important component of the blood clotting cascade is the so-called factor VIII, a protein produced by the F8 gene, which is located on the X chromosome. Women have 2 copies of the F8 gene, while men have only 1. Pathogenic variants of the F8 gene therefore lead to a severe deficiency of this key clotting factor in men, which is known as hemophilia, a blood clotting disorder that can result in catastrophic bleeding even after minor injuries. It also carries a significant risk of other health complications, such as arthritis caused by bleeding into the joints, and even the threat of death due to internal bleeding. Today, hemophilia is treated by directly replacing factor VIII through regular intravenous infusions, and gene therapy also offers hope. This disease did not spare even Russian and English rulers. Hemophilia was also present in such famous families as the English royal family, the Windsors, or the Russian imperial family, the Romanovs. In Russia in 1900, however, there was of course no possibility of infusions, let alone gene therapy, so Alexei Nikolaevich was treated with hypnosis by the self-proclaimed holy man Grigory Rasputin. Alexei was a member of the Romanov imperial family and the son of Russian Tsar Nicholas II. His mother, Empress Alexandra, was the granddaughter of Queen Victoria and the 6th child of her daughter, Princess Alice. Alice had a son, Frederick, who suffered from hemophilia, just like Queen Victoria's son, Leopold, which illustrates the typical pattern of X-linked inheritance of this disease in the royal family. All this meant that Empress Alexandra had a 50-50 chance of being a carrier of hemophilia. However, before the birth of Alexei, she had 3 daughters, so the question was whether a healthy son or a hemophiliac would be born. When her first son, Alexei, was born, it quickly became clear that he had the family's blood clotting disorder, because the bleeding from his umbilical stump would not stop. In this light, it is almost amusing that Rasputin would calm Tsarevich Alexei during his hemophilic crises using hypnosis. Rasputin was a skilled manipulator, a strange figure on the stage of Russian political theater, and if I may digress a little, his death is also legendary. In 1916, an assassination attempt was made on him. He was poisoned, shot, and drowned. Rasputin was first poisoned with cyanide, but it had no effect on him. Then he was shot several times in the stomach, back, and head, and after a beating, his murderers threw him into the icy Neva River. However, Rasputin was still not ready to give up and tried to crawl out onto the shore, but the icy water drained the last remnants of his strength. Over time, his death became a legend. No one was as tough as he was. And what happened to Alexei, the hemophiliac? He also met a grim end. He was executed along with the Romanov family in 1918 during the Russian Revolution. Their bodies were thrown into a former mine shaft, which at the time was filled with icy water. Later they were retrieved and burned. The remains of the executed royal family were recovered in 1979, and scientists genetically identified them using DNA fingerprinting and mitochondrial DNA analysis. One of the reference samples used for comparison was that of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, who is a great-grandson of Alexandra, Alexei's mother. In 1998, the remains of the members of the royal family were ceremoniously buried in the Peter and Paul Cathedral in St. Petersburg, and in 2000, the Russian Orthodox Church declared Tsar Nicholas II and the members of the royal family to be saints. Hemophilia did not spare the British royal family either. Hemophilia persisted in this family through the line of Queen Victoria. Her youngest daughter, Beatrice, had two sons affected by hemophilia, and it turned out that her own daughter, Victoria Eugenie, was also a carrier. After Beatrice married the Spanish king Alfonso XIII in 1906, she had four sons, two of whom suffered from hemophilia and both died. Her fourth son, Juan, who was not affected by the family disease, became the King of Spain, and the illness was no longer passed on through members of the Spanish royal family. Gradually, this genetic disease disappeared from the British royal family. That would be all for today. We've talked about some interesting facts from the field of genetics regarding the hereditary disease hemophilia. In the next episode, we'll continue with more fascinating questions about genetics and evolution. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And if you enjoy my storytelling, I would appreciate a like and a subscription to my channel. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, and bye bye.